Before we jump into this video, I'm proud to announce I'll be at the British Grand Prix in just under 2 weeks' time, and you can join me. Yes, our channel sponsor Bybit is offering 2 all-expenses-paid trips, including paddock passes, for the British Grand Prix. All you have to do is click the link in my description or bio and deposit $10 onto the platform, and you'll automatically be entered into this insane competition. And currently, they're offering 0 fees when you deposit using a debit or credit card for the quickest and cheapest way to deposit onto the platform. Full terms and conditions can be found down below in the description below, but hurry, you've only got until June 22nd to get yourself entered, and with a bit of luck, I'll be seeing you at Silverstone. Hello everyone, and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with the penultimate race of our F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday, we head back to the Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit, one of the fastest tracks on the F1 calendar for round 22 of 23 of this career mode there. We're nearly 140 episodes into this series, but just 2 races to go. Of course, if you missed out on the last video from Australia, an absolutely insane race, would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment. But yeah, heading though to Jeddah, like I said, 2 rounds to go of the campaign, and things getting very interesting. Of course, as well, a massive thank you at the time of recording this, 55,000 subscribers. That's been ticked off the list. You know, we're getting closer and closer to 60k. You know, if you're not already, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed as well for daily Formula 1 content. I mean, F1 22, that's coming round really soon now. I mean, 2 races left of this series. I think 3 races left of the Williams Road to Glory as well. Things are getting very interesting here. But having a look then at the championship, we could be world champion today. We head into Jeddah with a 18-point lead over George Russell. So if we extend the gap by 8 points, I'm pretty certain we've got more wins than George this year. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. George Russell's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh no, he's had 7 wins as well. So we would have to extend the gap by 9 points this weekend if we wanted to guarantee the title. Because, of course, if we went into Abu Dhabi with a 26-point lead and he won the race and got fastest lap, it would then go down to who has the most P2s. Which, saying that, he's had 1, 2, 3, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah, only 8 points then, the gap, as we head into the final race of the year. That's what we need to extend the gap by here in Jeddah. So that's a win with fastest lap. If we get a perfect weekend, that's it. Title's done. Let's get into it then here from Jeddah. We're coming towards the end of our track acclimatization lap. It's a sea of purple with just a couple of greens sprinkled in there. But yeah, like I always say coming back to Jeddah, an insane track to drive around, but still obviously questions around the legitimacy of it in terms of safety in real life. Purple score though, 845 points. Let's get into our second practice program. Right, let's jump into the qualifying simulation run. Trying to get a lap hooked up round here can be very intense, but so satisfying when you do get it right. Fingers crossed we can try and get a good benchmark in practice. That sets up nicely for qualifying, as we have got one of the Red Bulls just in front. Sergio Perez now, unfortunately, of course, out of the title fight with just 2 races to go, but still in that battle in the Williams RTG. There is all just a little bit wide out of the S's, but yeah, George Russell, the car in front of us, so maybe, you know, he's just going to play some mind games here, potentially try and psych us out a little bit, because he does not have any intention of moving out the way by the looks of it. I mean, effectively now, George Russell and I are racing here in free practice as the Red Bull man just sits in the way as we head through the fast chicane there. That corner, one of the most difficult ones to try and just spot around this lap, but we've always got... Ooh, steady on that. That's not what you want to do there. Side by side with George Russell down in towards the final corner. Look at this, we are properly racing in free practice here. Around the outside we go though, again grazed the wall on the exit of the final corner there, but we will pull off the move. George Russell's going to not peel into the pit lane, but that's going to be a purple score. Let's get into qualifying then, as, yeah, George Russell clearly playing the mind games, as that's not the line through turn 1. We'll do the Verstappen line. Right, well, as the sun starts to set here then in Jeddah, qualifying day is just beginning as we head down in towards the final corner. Has often been historically a pretty good track for us on F1 2021, and fingers crossed that run of form can continue here today. Of course, we won't talk about the heartbreak we had late on in the Williams Road to Glory race around here a few weeks ago, but yeah, straight into Q2. Oh, it's been a while since I've done that on this game, on throttle there. That was weird. Okay, I mean, I'm going to try and use this set of tyres again, but haven't done that in a long time. Well, 8 minutes still left on the clock then here, so we definitely got time to go for 2 runs if we need to. But yeah, very, very weird there. I don't think I've ever spun down at turn 2 around this circuit before, but getting on the brakes then at about the 100-metre ball, then tip it in through the first corner. I mean, I'm guessing we just got hugged in a bit too much by the camber, and the back end broke free. But anyway, down through the next couple of twisties. Just try and avoid that wall on the inside there. Pretty much every time I saw I go through that corner, I have to double correct. So just tipping it in nice and tidy through the next couple of turns there. Kept it in the white lines this time around, unlike what we did in free practice in purple. Come the end of sector 1 there. Try and keep it close to the inside through turn 12. And then run right up towards all the Aramco signs on the exit. Getting up towards 215 miles an hour as we head down in towards the final corner here of our first completed Q2 run. Or a little bit there, just got it a bit too close to the inside wall. I didn't want to throw away another lap here. Activate the DRS, power down towards the start-finish line. That's going to be a 24 flat there.
In the fastest lap. Good job.
Love that. I mean, we might go for a second run just in case, because I don't really want to start the race on a fairly worn set of tyres, but that should be good enough to see us through into Q3 anyway. Well, we haven't got much time left on the clock, so we can try and open up the final corner as best as possible there. Ride the throttle on corner exit. About 10 seconds as we cross the start-finish line here. Longest run towards the finish, so we get the best run down towards turn 1 there, slipping on the anchors at the 100-metre board once more. Like I said, we don't desperately need to improve there. A Stroll now slots up to P2, but I would quite like to, just so we can start the race on slightly fresher rubber. Come on, Bottas, get out the way, man. Bottas, please. Just struggle to get the car tipped in the dirty air there, and yeah, Bottas, that's not done me any favours as we head around the second half of the lap. There are a lot of cars improving though. Lando Norris now up into P2 there, and Giovinazzi up into P4 towards the end of Q2 as we try and keep the car tucked in between the white lines there. Got a slightly better run than we did last time round out of, I guess you could call that a fast chicane there, but still 2 tenths down by the time we get to the final corner. Most of that time lost stuck behind the McLaren. Ride the throttle though out of the final turn. We aren't going to improve, but we're going to be pretty close once again there. That's a bit gutting, but not the end of the world. And I mean, look at that, half a second clear at the end of Q2 there. And Red Bull, this is not a track that suits their car there. Perez down in 6th, George Russell down in 9th place at the end of Q2. I reckon a 23 is doable for us here. But Red Bull, George Russell, he needs to try and find something else in the Q3 runs there. Otherwise, he's going to have a long Sunday ahead of him. Right, Q3 then here from Jeddah. And fingers crossed now we can really try and get a nice tidy lap in as we head out of the final corner. Activate the DRS then. Long run back up towards the start-finish line. And let's see. First of all, though, I want to just try and get a good solid benchmark down in those low 24s if possible. But, I mean, we're certainly going to take not massive risks here. I mean, we got an 18-point lead in the championship. We don't really need to risk anything at the moment. We could just finish directly behind George Russell in the final 2 races of the year, and we would be crowned world champion. But, you know, I'd love to go into Abu Dhabi with it all wrapped up there, just in case we get another engine failure. It's not been a reliable second half of this year. 3 mechanical failures. Of course, Brazil, Mexico, and way back at Belgium as Lando Norris goes fastest at the moment. 24/7ers. Look how close we get to the wall on the exit there. Fingers crossed we can go quicker than Lando, but I'm sure we'll see others improve. Corner then, try and get on the throttle nicely on the exit. There we go, that's what you expect from George Russell. 24.4 there. As what are we going to do as we head up towards the line?
That's the fastest lap so far. Well done.
23.6, have that, George. I don't think anyone's going to get close to that, but we've still got one more set of tyres. May as well use them. I was not expecting that sort of time. Maybe the track just getting a little bit cooler as well, and of course getting more and more rubbered in as qualifying goes on. But a 23.6, I mean, that should be pole position here, unless someone finds something insane on the final run. So we're just going to go all or nothing here. A bit of a sweat mode lap for qualifying for the Jeddah or Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Can we go any quicker? The team reckon there's another 2/10 in it. We'll wait and see. It's down through turn 1. That was pretty nice. Just ride the throttle on the exit. Try to avoid wheel spin though. Again, just wallop that curb on the exit there. Bit unsteady on the rear end. We almost Mick Schumachered it. But we live to fight another day, as that is not the line through the bank turn 12. We're getting a nice run on the exit. But that has cost us dearly. Really getting up towards the wall on the exit there. Two more proper corners to go of this qualifying lap, and we're still pretty much level. That was not good though. Down one too many gears on the way through. We're a 10th down. I'll activate the DRS though as we head in towards the final corner. I can see a Red Bull up the road, I think. Not too sure whether that's Russell or Perez. Just going to go really late on the brakes. Around in the final corner we go. Oh, little kick of wheel spin. That's going to cost us. As we head up towards the line there, we got a faint draft from Russell, but it's 2. Oh, it's a 23.7 there. Just a little way away, but I'm happy with that. Pole position here in Saudi Arabia. We've done the hardest part of the challenge. Well, there we go then. Qualifying done and dusted, and it's a British 1-2-3 there with myself, Russell, and Lando Norris there. But 3/4 of a second clear of George Russell. He was the only car to get within a second of us at the end of qualifying. Can we hang on to it though in the race? It's going to be difficult here, but a 3rd World Championship is on the line. Let's get it. Formula 1 is finally back in 2022, and now you can rep your favourite teams. Of course, using the F1 store, every team now has merch lineups available, whether you're an Aston Martin fan, a Williams fan, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. The choice is completely up to you. But yeah, check out the F1 merch store down below for all the official releases from all of the teams. And of course, as always, if you use our links as well, you massively help support the channel. So yeah, give it a look and see if there's anything you like.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah. One of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. An interesting circuit this one, the newest on the Formula 1 calendar, and like most street circuits, it's sure to present the drivers with an interesting technical challenge. Some challenging turns for the drivers to negotiate as well, and at the same time they're going to have to manage their tyres very carefully in this heat. Anthony Davidson, a lot of talented drivers out on the track today, but what will stand out for you?
Well, Crofty, my focus is 100% on the front of the grid. Like you said, we're seeing lots of strong competition across those positions, so it would be super interesting to see the fight for that front spot. Personally speaking, I'm hoping for plenty of overtakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Tsunoda, Max Verstappen and Perez, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Sainz and Charles Leclerc, Bottas, Joe, Nikita Mazepin and Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Aitken, Nicholas Latifi and Esteban Ocon. They've taken a grid penalty. Lundgaard, Eilert, Giotto and Robert Schwartzman. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Right, well here we are then on the grid, ready for the Saudi Arabian GP, round 22 of the longest and craziest season I've done on F1 ever, really, to be honest. I mean, technically the F2 seasons are 24 races long, but we'll ignore that for the sake of the video here. But yeah, soft medium, the strategy to go with today. Like always, going to massively underfuel the car. Jeddah, though, unless we get a safety car, a very, very fast-paced Grand Prix there. George Russell alongside us. If things finish as they start, we could be world champion here today. Remember, 18 points. If we win with fastest lap, it's all over. George Russell can finish P2, we'll have a 26-point lead and we'll win it on countback. Let's get into it then. Penultimate race of the year here from Jeddah. We need a good clean start. 5 red lights. And it is going to be a long hold as George Russell there immediately, just like Hamilton did in 2021, rocket ship start there. Lando Norris tries to do the same as we're going to try and hook it up around the outside of the AlphaTauri through turn 1 there. But George Russell leads the way then off the start of the Grand Prix there. Not too sure what Lando's doing just behind us. But now, I mean, George Russell, yeah, has done everything he could possibly ask for off the start of the Grand Prix. So we've got to try and get the tyres up to temperature, everything like that. And like I keep saying, you know, we want to wrap this up today. But even if as long as we finish well, I mean, it's still in a pretty good stead, ready for Abu Dhabi. But like I said, I'm just worried about the engine components still at this time of the year. And maybe George Russell's kind of aware of that and is just going to go, I'm going to bolt at the start of the Grand Prix. If you want to stress your engine out, try and keep up, go for it, mate. But yeah, not the perfect start then here in Saudi Arabia, but a whole lot better than last weekend at Albert Park then. Nikita Mazepin hasn't turned me this time. But yeah, George Russell, though, really trying to extend this gap early on there. We've got to make sure we try and at least stay close to the DRS there as we head out through the end of Sector 2. And Lando Norris, how could he play into this today as well? Of course, AlphaTauri, they all want to be trying to help his, well, mate George Russell there. But of course, Lando, 2 races left of his F1 career before he calls it quits at the end of this season. But George Russell leads at the end of lap 1 here from Jeddah. We have got a chase. Well, coming towards the end of lap 2 then, I wonder if George Russell's been given a spicy engine here in Jeddah. I haven't seen this sort of pace out of him all weekend long. And again, he pulls out another 2 tenths.
1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
We did go purple through Sector 3 that time, but yeah, George Russell is a man on a mission. He wants to keep this title hunt alive and do what his teammate Verstappen hasn't been able to, not only over the last couple of seasons, but also this year as well as our teammate. End of lap 3 though, gap finally for the first time so far starting to go the right way there as we set a new fast lap. Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda go even faster though. So not only are we trying to apply pressure in front,
has just put up the fastest lap of the race so far.
And Tsunoda just went immediately quicker, Jeff, but we've got yellow flags out. Someone's going slowly a bit further down the order. No idea who that is. Was it our teammate or was it one of the McLarens, I think? Or is it someone else entirely there? It might be Giovinazzi? I can't quite see, especially heading through the S's, because we need to concentrate through this set of corners. It is one of the McLarens, I think, by the looks of it.
Okay,
I'm going to guess Lando. No, not Lando. Of course, he's in an AlphaTauri. It's Daniel Ricciardo. At least we got there in the end.
Problem is terminal. They're retiring the car.
Rather worryingly, though, that's another Mercedes power unit going up in smoke. And the last time, no, Ricciardo's had a failure last weekend at Australia and one at Mexico as well recently. So what have they done with their recent upgrades that have screwed everyone but themselves and Williams? Lando Norris now really starting to get a bit feisty here as we head out of the final corner. And look at this. The AlphaTauri, man, he's gaining on me. He's got insane overspeed as we head back down towards turn 1. And I can't do anything on the brakes that time round. Lando Norris takes P2 of the Grand Prix. There, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact as we head through the first couple of corners. But I cannot get stuck battling the AlphaTauri all day if I want to try and win this thing. Still staying close to the back then of Lando Norris. So I wonder if he just got the run thanks to the DRS here. I mean, the DRS very, very powerful around this circuit. To the outside of Lando Norris there, and we'll clean sweep back around him. Back up to P2 then. And you can just see, because of the overspeed you get with the DRS, how much it carries you towards the next car in front there. But Lando's surely going to come back at me now. So we head back down towards turn 1 there. And oh, okay, Lando Norris, big feisty move there. And again, able to outbrake me in towards the first corner. I want to try and work with him to get to George Russell. I think he might be working with George Russell, so I can't get to the Red Bull. I'm actually going to try and start playing this quite strategically against Lando Norris and not go for the move down at the final corner there. So fingers crossed now, DRS and the ERS, we should be able to steamroll past him back down towards turn 1. I think we're going to have to just push a lot though at the moment. I don't think he is as I go back around the outside of Lando Norris, a little bit wide down at turn 1. But I mean, the good thing is us two battling isn't really allowing us to fall further back from George Russell, because of course we're just slipstreaming past each other down the straights. And now we might be close to the 1 second zone on the Red Bull. So just trying not to upset rear end. Might have set Niels Wittich there with that line through the S's, but we live to fight another day. Oh, there we go. New fastest lap of the day.
4.2 seconds.
Verstappen's still somewhere in the midfield, but yeah, new fastest lap, and we're inside the DRS range now of George Russell in front. So are the tables just starting to turn slightly?
No need to worry about tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
Jeff happy with the tyre wear at the moment, as I'm wondering if George Russell has just taken a bit too much out of his rubber early on in the Grand Prix. But I mean, the DRS is just so potent round here. We're half a second away from George Russell. That gap just coming down rapidly. So we head down towards turn 1. Oh, down the inside we go, but a bit too optimistic through the first corner there. It was always going to be a brave attempt. And now we're going to have Lando Norris all over the back of me once more. But yeah, I think we kind of got taken aback a little bit by how early George Russell broke there. Had already looked to the inside and then kind of panicked, I'll be honest. Oh, there's a wall there. Matt, remember, there's walls around this place. Right, well, all over the back of George Russell once again then. You can just see how powerful the DRS is. The gap about half a second and immediately we're all over the Red Bull's gearbox to the outside. And George Russell we go. Big, big squeeze as we head down through the final corner there. Make sure we don't hit the outside wall on the exit. Can we try and get a run back down towards turn 1 there? Russell holds defensive as we head over the start-finish line. We're going to be boxing at the end of this lap though, and I wonder, yeah, whether George Russell has taken a bit too much out of his tyres there. It's very, very late on the brakes.
Max is coming in for his
Steady
stop.
on the exit of turn 1 there. Few cars starting to pit though, as George Russell, we thought about it. He shows the nose through turn 3 there, but luckily we hang on for now. Oh, George Russell to the inside in towards the final corner here. And are we going to be racing in the way to the pit lane? Big lock up from George, big lock up from myself. Try and put the power down out of the final corner here. And yeah, looks like we are going to be racing on a pit entry. Oh, all over the back of the Red Bull. Make sure we get the car slowed down into the pit lane. And I mean, look at us, top 3. What? What? Codemasters, a 5-second penalty. We barely grazed him on the way into the pits there. That is... I mean, that could be race-defining here as somehow... Oh, no, that's obviously... I might have got thrown off there and thought he was in a Mercedes for a second. But, yeah, it means that not only now, we've got to try and get back past George Russell. Here is Lando Norris actually crashes into the side of me on pit exit there. We've been given a 5-second penalty in this Grand Prix there. That could be absolutely disastrous come the checkered flag there. Because, of course, yes, Tsunoda and Lando Norris have just been following us along right the way from the get-go there, just sort of patiently waiting. I mean, Lando hasn't been so patient on occasion, but yeah, coming back out the pit lane then down in P4, we've got Jack Aitken and Mick Schumacher leading a Formula 1 race. It's been a while since we've seen a Schumacher in first place, but as we head through the middle sector, I cannot believe that from the FIA here. I mean, it was the tiniest bit of contact. I didn't really realise it was contact, and it must have been minute. Otherwise, the team would have panicked and gone to change the front wing there. But Russell seemingly not able to get the run on Jack Aitken there, as I don't really want to risk it down into this chicane. And we try and get a run, though, on the exit of the corner there. George Russell and Jack Aitken have both got the DRS themselves there, as Russell kind of getting a bit stuck. He's going to go one side of Aitken. I'm going to try and go the other, up the inside of the pair of them. And that could be a World Championship winning move there, as we just muscle Aitken out on the exit of the corner there. Mick Schumacher peels into the pit lane there. Jack Aitken peels into the pit lane as well. So we do re-inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. Jeff, I do not care. We've got bigger things to worry about at the moment. As now we've got to somehow try and break free of the DRS. And I mean, that's got to be now or never. If we can do it through the S's this time round, the race victory is still well and truly on. If we can't, it's probably going to be George Russell's day today. There is, luckily for us, it looks like Lando and Tsunoda have battled out further back there and have lost the DRS range themselves. But through the S's, look at that, we have pulled out the gap, 1.3 seconds. This race is not over now, a bit like the Williams RTG at Monza a couple of days ago. If you can break out the DRS around these such high-speed circuits, you can then open up the gap a little bit, as we went purple through the first sector. But still, a 5-second gap by the end is quite a big task around here. George Russell, I reckon he made a mistake through that middle part of the lap, because the gap immediately up to 2 seconds. Nope. Apparently we're just going to set a 25.8. Okay, hopefully that'll be good enough to stay as the fastest lap of the day there. But yeah, now we've got to try and build up another 3 seconds in the final 12 laps here from Jeddah. That is, well, it sounds like quite an easy task. I mean, that's only a quarter of a second a lap there, but the pace does really ebb and flow around here. What I don't get is how do we have so much extra pace in qualifying over everyone, and then when we get into the races there, we just can't really do a lot else. I wonder if, you know, it's only Tsunoda with the same power unit as me, where the Honda can run their engine quite high, but it just doesn't quite have the same peak power as the Mercedes unit, because, yeah, qualifying, we were so far clear, but getting to the race, I mean, the gap's staying pretty level now to George Russell. We have that one lap there, but like I said, I'm pretty certain he must have made a mistake. And since then, the gap's just holding between about 1.3 and 2 seconds. I've got to try and keep him out of the range, just because that could be really bad later on there. But I'm more focusing, to be honest, about trying to keep the 5 seconds over Norris and Tsunoda at the moment, unless, of course, something happens to Russell. I mean, the pace today is just so weird. Now, George Russell is hanging on, but Lando, Norris and Tsunoda are dropping way further back. I don't want to believe this is over just yet. But, yeah, I just think George Russell might have enough to try and stick within that 5-second zone. Unless, of course, his tyres fall off, a bit like we saw in the first stint. Lines like that, though, are not going to do us any favours.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there. We're attempting to manage it.
Oh, don't. I can't cope with this anymore in this game. Honestly, 6 laps to go here. George Russell now is all over my gearbox again. We cannot have a 4th engine failure of this season. I mean, that'd be 3 in the last 4 Grand Prix there. I thought after we finished last time out in Australia that whole shenanigans was over. Mercedes has got those components fixed for us. Please do not flash up on that NFD.
It looks critical. Find somewhere to retire as soon as possible. We can't risk you carrying on with this race.
This game wants me to lose.
This is serious. We need you to retire as soon as possible.
This game absolutely wants me to lose this championship, and there's nothing I can do at the moment to help it. I wanted to wrap this up today in case of an engine failure at Abu Dhabi. I never thought about getting an engine failure here. Now we go into Abu Dhabi on the back foot. What can I do? On F1 2021 there, 3 engine failures, last 4 Grand Prix. I bring on the new game, honestly, at this point. Come on, Jeff, give me the line.
Are you okay? That was a nasty hit. Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.
Yep, that was a horrendous crash there. Walloped the Armco barriers, didn't we? What can I do?
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. George Russell takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship after today's superb result. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
The Constructors' Championship may be a foregone conclusion at the moment, but regardless, let's look at the standings. And it's another title in the bag for Red Bull. After a long and hard-fought season, they built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Honestly, at this point, I'm scared to go to Abu Dhabi to finish off this year there. With that result, Red Bull wrap up their second Constructors' Championship in a row there, and I think they're third in 4 seasons. Of course, we snuck it away from them back when we had Lando Norris as our teammate there. But George Russell takes home the win here from Jeddah. They're 6 seconds clear of Lando Norris and 8 seconds clear of Yuki Tsunoda and Sergio Perez there. Verstappen could only muster up P5 when all is said and done. They're ahead of Stroll, Leclerc, Gio, Sainz and Valtteri Bottas. And I said early on in the race, you know, Daniel Ricciardo, when he gets a mechanical failure, we tend to follow. It didn't happen at Albert Park, but it has happened once more here in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And like I said, I'm genuinely scared to go into Abu Dhabi now in case we get another one, because I don't even want to look at this championship. We go into Abu Dhabi, the final race of the year, 7 points back behind George Russell. We've had 4 mechanical failures. I think he's had 1 so far this year there. Like I said, you know, the penalty into the pit lane, another engine failure. This game is trying to make me lose, it feels like, at this stage of the campaign there. No other movers, though, in the championship. So, I mean, if we win Abu Dhabi, that's it. Title is ours still. Don't forget that. But we're going to have to put a whole fresh engine in the car. We cannot afford to risk it at this stage of the year there. We need fresh components, and we're going to have to start from the back for the final race of our F1 2021 career mode there. Constructors-wise, though, yeah, Red Bull, they have opened up that gap there. 89 points with only 44 available. Fair play to him. You know, Perez has been much more consistent. Max this year has been next to useless, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, constructors-wise, though, still plenty to play for behind there. AlphaTauri, Ferrari and Mercedes, it is all still up for grabs for P3. And McLaren and Alpine, just 10 points separating them as we head into the final race of the year as well. But yeah, of course, a 100% race from Abu Dhabi to finish off this My Team career mode on F1 2021. I really don't want to end this season on a low point, so fingers crossed, I pray Cody's don't screw me in Abu Dhabi. We'll be back very, very soon, though, with the final race of our My Team F1 2021 career mode. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.